I really enjoyed this film, really. There's so many striking things about it. One is, it's pretty amazing for someone to carry a film for half an hour without actually saying a word. And that's what you do. It's all in the face there in the beginning. You don't say anything except on a keyboard.
Right.
And how challenging is that for you?
You know, it's really interesting because that's all down to David Mackenzie, our incredible director. He's just someone who's so good at crafting that tension and that kind of gripping story that keeps you on the edge of your seat. And my character not speaking very much for a whole chunk of the beginning of the film is part of that. It's just something that makes you lean in. And I think every element of this film is about trying to get audiences to the edge of their seat. You know, getting them to lean in and ask, what is going on? So the whole conceit of the film is my character is trying to evade detection and outrun people that are looking for him and the people he's helping. And in a digital world, how do you do that? You go off grid. You know?
I found it striking watching it, thinking your character is someone who part of his job is not to be seen, which is something you've talked a lot about as an actor coming up here, that it was a struggle to be seen. And I don't know if you were thinking about that at all, but I did.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, you know, for this character, his anonymity is his superpower.
Yes.
You know, his ability to kind of switch into different modes and be different people or go unnoticed is actually a superpower. And I think for me also, you know, being able to, or sometimes being forced to kind of occupy different kinds of roles, wear different hats, be different people, it's, you know, it's what, you know, led me into acting. You know, growing up sometimes not fitting into this box or that box very cleanly, it meant that I had to be adaptable. So definitely, I think that's something that I could relate to. This idea of, you know, sometimes when you're overlooked, sometimes when you're forced to be adaptable, it can actually be a real strength in the end. But I think in a way, it's kind of a throwback to some of those classic movies that I really loved watching. You know, stuff like Michael Clayton or The Conversation. These thrillers that keep you on the edge of your seat, but they have a bit of everything. So yes, my character has long chunks of silence, but also he gets to play other characters and code switch in a way where he almost becomes different people. And David is a master at that. You know, he makes it all hang together, but he's created a thriller with a bit of romance, with a lot of twists, and this totally fresh conceit, which you mentioned, which is the relay machine, which is something I think people won't have seen before. I was not familiar with it. That whole concept, which was really cool. And the middleman, in effect, in terms of the operator. You have so much going on right now, or at least you seem to on paper. Maybe it's some of it's done, so you don't have to worry about it. But you've also got a comedy show going on that you're putting together. That's a pet project of yours. It is, yeah. It's been interesting, you know, starting a production company over the last few years with Left Handed. It's given me a lot of freedom to kind of just do a range of different things that I'm passionate about. And the reality is, I'm excited about doing a Shakespeare project, but also a half-hour comedy, and working with a great team, and having that support to really kind of see your ideas through. It's just been a real joy. So,
Do you find that you're stretching yourself?
I think that's the idea, right?
If
I remember a David Bowie quote in an interview that always stayed with me is, when you can't feel the bottom of the swimming pool, that's the most interesting place. When you're slightly off balance, that's when you're forced to grow and learn and, you know, make mistakes that can be interesting. So I'm always interested in going slightly out of my comfort zone as an artist, but I also think audiences love that. I think audiences want to see stories they haven't seen before. And that's what I'm passionate about.
You've worked long and hard to get to this place, to get these kind of opportunities, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, you know, but the thing I'm still very, very grateful for, the thing that excites me is being able to collaborate with people. You know, when you start out doing the school play, it's about forming that little group of people, that ensemble, and, you know, being there for each other, being able to take risks and catch one another. And so what really motivates me and excites me is trying to recreate that feeling. And when it's around people like Wes Anderson or Iñárritu or Tom Cruise, they're people who are just so inspiring to me.
What was your experience working with Wes Anderson like?
Unlike anything else. He visualizes the entire film up front. He goes, hey, here's this role, here's this script. You go, cool, I'd love to do it. And he goes, right, here's the cartoon. So he's created an entire cartoon version of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Frame by frame, shot by shot. So you really understand his vision.
Right.
Down to the last detail. The only intimidating thing about it is he does the voice of every character. And he's really good. He's good, man. He's like setting a bar right off the jump. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it better than Wes, but do it my own way.
Is it at all confining when his vision is so clearly laid out, or is it liberating in some way?
You know what I've found more and more is that sometimes limitations can unlock more creativity.
Yeah.
And I've definitely seen that, you know, now producing my own projects and working sometimes on lower budgets or working in a half-hour format. I think that sometimes having those parameters forces you to be creative in different ways. So it was really fascinating. He knows exactly what the shape and the visual composition will be. He'll even know in his mind what the rhythm of delivery and all of that stuff will be. So you're forced to kind of be creative in a within a smaller box. But I'm reminded of kind of like miniature painting. It's still that attention to detail, still being creative.
Well, it's amazing what you can do in a small space if you're focused on it.
Right, exactly. And he's very focused on it, and so is everyone on his set.
The series that you're producing, that's your first series, right? You haven't done anything like that before.
This is the first time I've created a TV show. And acted in it.
And how has that experience been?
It's crazy.
Is it?
Yeah. It's I'm definitely going to be less troublesome to any showrunners I work with in the future. They've really got their work cut out. I want to be nicer to those guys. Go ahead, directors, writers, all of them. No, it was a real joy.
Has producing a series felt different to you in some way?
It's definitely different. In a weird way for me, having to think about so many other things really forced me to double down on my instincts as an actor and not be able to overthink. So actually I feel like the performance has to be driven by instinct and trust in a different way. You don't have the space to overanalyze or overwork anything. So that was kind of an interesting, that's a gift and a curse, right? I always believe the gift and the curse are the same. So having less bandwidth to think about something means you have to go more on instinct, for example. But the thing that I valued most about it was being able to create that family. You know, I always believe that we're at our best when we feel safe, you know? So creating that little tribe, that team of amazing collaborators was just a joy. And I think everyone said that it felt like a really special set.
How long had you been carrying that idea around?
About 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. I remember when I went to the premiere of a screening of Blue Valentine. And somebody told me, you know, this writer director, he carried this idea around for 10 years getting this made. And I thought, crazy. Like, who does that? And now producing my own projects, you know, Hamlet, that was a 13-year process. And this show is an 11-year process. So to be able to, you know, bring it to fruition has been a joy, but I'm just so excited to share it with people because I think it just, you know, I think it will just, again, show people something they haven't necessarily seen before. And that's what's always excited me. I remember sitting down watching those Scorsese movies like Goodfellas and just being taken into this world that I hadn't seen before. That's what excites me most. So if I can take audiences somewhere they haven't been before, entertain them with a twist, give them something different, that's, you know, that's the ultimate goal for me.
Why did you want to be an actor?
It's a great question, you know. I think part of it is maybe growing up in a very noisy, big, extended family, being one of the younger kids at that time. You do what you can to get attention, right? I was very close with my mum, still am, and I think she wouldn't mind me saying that she's quite a dramatic personality. I remember to this day, the best speeches or monologues I've ever seen performed will be my mum in the kitchen cussing us out, you know, just berating us. Like, you know, when I grew up, it was like this. Just the rhythm of it, the melody of it. It was like watching an amazing orator. I was just like, wow. It was just hypnotizing. So maybe that had something to do with it. But I think maybe, you know, being back here as well at Central School of Speech and Drama where I trained, I'm I'm reminded of the fact that I just always felt very at home
Yeah.
on the stage, you know?
When did you first go on the stage?
My mum put me in speech and drama lessons from when I was quite young,
Yeah.
from when I was about 8 years old.
Had you expressed any interest in it at that point, or was that just something she thought would
I
be
think
good
she
for
just
you?
saw it, yeah. I think she just saw me, you know, I'd be doing impressions of Prince Charles when he was on TV. I'd be like, you know, you're not gonna ask me to do it now. He's the king, he's not the prince anymore, he's a king.
You don't want to do an impression of the king?
Exactly. But taking a step back, I think that on some level I was always acting.
Yeah.
Grew up in a certain kind of neighborhood and environment.
Yeah.
I got kind of scholarship. I was a scholarship kid that got to go to a very different kind of school and environment.
Yeah.
And I think from a young age, I was code switching. I was acting.
Yes.
You know, there'd be a change in the way I talk and walk, and even in my costume. You know, I
Yeah.
take my change of clothes,
Yeah.
put on the shirt and tie. So I think that was something that was kind of confusing at times as a kid.
Sure.
But you look back and I realize it forced me to develop these muscles.
I read that you had a thing for Bruce Lee.
Who didn't? Who didn't? Yeah. Bruce Lee was so special and so iconic. I remember my uncles being in particular obsessed with Bruce Lee and having a massive poster of Bruce Lee up in the house, in my
Yeah.
grandma's house,
Yeah.
where we'd go to after school and they'd babysit. I mean, I say babysit.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically put on a Bruce Lee movie, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like 5
call
years
that
old, 6
babysitting, yeah.
Exactly, right, there you go. Just watching all that, watching him kick ass. Yeah, Bruce Lee was very important to me growing up. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it other than just to say that he was just so graceful and fluid.
Yeah.
He had an intensity but a fluidity at the same time.
Yeah.
Obviously a very physical performer. It's different to what I do. But I think, you know, the eyes don't lie. And I think that's just someone who was just very tapped in, very present. And he just had a very powerful presence. So yeah, I was obsessed with him for a long time.
Did you actually audition for Slumdog Millionaire?
Why you gotta bring this up right now, man? Why you gotta bring...
Well, you're doing really well, so I was hoping it didn't hurt as much.
I did, man.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. That was probably the worst audition of my life.
Was it?
Well, what happened was this. So I was a massive Danny Boyle fan already.
Yeah.
So I went into audition for this. And, you know, first I auditioned for the role that Dev ended up playing so brilliantly and beautifully.
Yeah.
And obviously, Danny knew that I wasn't right for that. And then he said, why don't you audition for the brother?
Yeah.
And he's a bit more rough around the edges and, you know, he gets in with some gangsters and he's a bit of a, you know, tough guy. He's a bit more aggressive or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And so I read for that and he went, you know what, I can see you're holding back a bit.
Yeah.
So just let loose, do whatever you want. I can't remember exactly what happened in the audition, but I remember it ended with me holding Danny Boyle up against the wall.
Wow.
And I'd ripped his shirt open.
Wow.
And he goes, all right, thanks a lot, Riz. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate that. Yeah. I didn't get the role for some reason.
That sounds like a pretty amazing moment.
Where's the footage? That's what I want to know.
Where is the
We
footage?
need that so we can destroy it.
Yeah, no.
That's what we need that
No,
for.
that goes in the biopic later on. And that was, I mean, I read somewhere that when you didn't get that part, you were pretty discouraged.
Yeah. I was, because I think roles like that were few and far between
Yes.
at that time. You know, it was a different time. I thought this is the first time and probably the only time you're going to have where someone like me could play a lead role.
Yeah.
But I think what Danny did with that, what Dev did with that, what, you know, so many people have been doing since has opened up an amazing space where that's no longer the case.
Yeah.
And well, you know, I'm in a movie like Relay, which is not a culturally specific role in that way.
Yeah.
You know, I guess in theory, anyone could have played it. David Mackenzie, you know, I was lucky enough for him to think that I could play this role. And it feels cool, you know, to be working at a time where that's possible and to see more and more of that.
I mean, you've worked. I mean, just on these projects that you've got going now, in the different stages, you're working with such a range of people. You know, I mean, it's pretty extraordinary.
I think that's the fun of it for me. Yeah, in the same way as I think that, you know, we all have different sides to us.
Yeah. Are you finding parts of yourself you didn't know were there?
It's a great question. Yeah. I'd always assumed that kind of writing, producing, creative side was for other people
Yeah.
who are maybe more organized and less ADD.
Yeah.
And the performance side is where I could really channel my creativity most freely. But actually, when you work with the right people
Yeah.
who can help create that support around you, create a filter around your ideas,
Yeah.
that's been really, really fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
You know, in a really kind of 360 degrees way, coming up with the idea and writing and
Yeah.
you know, picking every last detail, creating these worlds together, and then performing with actors.
Yeah.
I think that that's a side that I wasn't sure was in me, but now I'm doing it. I've just found it so satisfying and addictive.
So what gave you the conviction to take the leap to try that?
I think it was because I had to.
Yeah.
I had to. You know, like I said, the stories that excited me as an audience member
Yeah.
were the ones that take you into fresh worlds
Yeah.
and offer a fresh perspective. And I think there was a perspective that I wasn't seeing out there,
Yeah.
you know, that I felt that I could offer.
Yeah. So you were thinking, if I don't make it, nobody will?
Yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
or at least just that, man, there's this story or
Yeah.
there's this world that
Yeah.
I really want to see up on a screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll do it. I'll offer a first attempt at it,
Yeah.
and then other people can,
Yeah.
you know, improve on that,
Yeah.
you know, build on that base.
Restart the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Because I think ultimately, you know, that's what audiences want right now. I
Yeah.
think that there's just so much out there. People want things that are fresh
Yeah.
and unusual and a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like I say, you know, something with a twist.
You said something when you won your Oscar that I found really moving, which I'm paraphrasing, but the basic words were, if you feel like you're in no man's land, we'll meet you there. Which still kind of gives me the chills. It's just sort of it's such a lovely thing to say.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know. I think that we live at a time when a lot of people are feeling a little bit lost and anxious, you know. There's so much division, there's so much conflict. You're either this or you're this, you've got to pick a side. And I think the reality is that most people find themselves in a kind of gray area in terms of their beliefs, their identity, who they are, from one day to the next.
Yeah.
And I also think that's the most creative place. I think that's where most creative people live, and that's where the best stories, the most interesting characters are.
Yeah.
So I really would love to focus my energies in my life in making that gray area a more comfortable place to be, a less lonely place to be.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to be drawn to characters like the one I play in Relay, who I think is generally a character we haven't seen before on screen, and go, okay, I relate to that person.
Yeah.
You know, for a moment, for a split second, I am that person.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the joy and the power of storytelling, is that we put ourselves in other people's shoes. We feel more connected, we feel less alone. So yeah, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about telling stories. If you can entertain people and build empathy and build connection, you know, that's the dream.
Yeah. You went to the States, I think it was around 2014, right? Or was it before that? It might have been before that.
In terms of like my first kind of American job.
Yeah, well, you went for Nightcrawler, right? And
that's right.
But but it was Idris Elba who persuaded you should take the risk, right?
Yeah. Idris was kind of already doing his thing in America a little bit, and we knew each other through mutual friends. And I remember a night out with him, and we were just chatting, and he said, you know, you should get out there.
Yeah.
You should do something over there. I didn't really see it for some reason. I just felt like, I know I was working with a lot of interesting kind of indie filmmakers over here.
Yeah.
I was doing things like Four Lions. And I guess I just wasn't sure what the appetite would be.
Yeah.
You know, for someone like myself who didn't neatly fit into one box or another.
Yeah.
And of course, having gone to America since then, what I've realized is, in many ways, you know, America's appetite for the outsider is massive. You know, it's a nation of outsiders. It's a nation of immigrants.
Yes.
You know, it's a nation of individuals who see themselves as individuals who are. You know, so I think America really loves that unique point of view in a way that is quite rare. You know, and so having gone there, it's been amazing to be able to, you know, work with people like Wes and work with tell stories that, again, just have that unusual, fresh, slightly bold point of view, which Nightcrawler definitely had.
Yeah, it's very funny because you're right. I mean, that's part of the whole American sort of mythology. But on the other hand, the machinery of everything can be very closed, in some ways. I mean, which was, but like, I mean, the night of was just an extraordinary. I remember turning it on, not knowing what it was.
Yeah.
I think I read a review and I started watching it and I was like, I have never seen anything like this. I was actually excited because of that.
Yeah.
It was an incredible piece of television.
It was such an amazing formative experience for me.
Yeah.
That was in 2012.
Yeah.
And such a roller coaster making it as well, because we shot the pilot with the late, great James Gandolfini from Sopranos. And we thought we were going to go straight to series. It didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
Then it did get picked up.
Yeah.
But James tragically passed away. Yeah. And then again, we thought we weren't going to make it. And it was John who stepped in and made that role his own in such an amazing way. So it was a roller coaster, even getting to the starting line. Yeah. And then making it was really life-changing, spending time with people who'd been wrongfully convicted, speaking to organizations like the Innocence Project, going to Rikers Island prison and seeing that whole environment. It was really humbling, really eye-opening. I think, again, it's the thing that I think can be really special about this is you get to put yourself in other people's shoes. And if you're lucky, that's an experience that is replicated for the audience. Yeah. They get to put themselves in someone else's shoes and see a world they haven't seen before.
Right. You talk about that experience of being picked to be in something like that and then not initially getting picked up, not sure what's going to happen to it, which is the roller coaster that every actor goes through. But it's torturous in certain ways.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I've always tried to continue to just express myself and be creative, regardless of whether or not the phone is ringing, So music has kept me busy for a lot of that, and that's been a really pure place for me to express myself. Yeah. And now, as I said, forming a production company has given me that opportunity so that I'm able to create my own material and projects, not just for myself, but for other people to come and play around in. So I think I've always been a self-starter in that way. I think that's another thing that is a very American energy. Yes. I think that was well received when I kind of took that energy to the States. Yeah. And it was great to have that encouraged. It's a very entrepreneurial vibe over there. So that's been my answer. It's just like, I've never been good at sitting still. Yeah. So I just always like to keep it moving. Yeah. If you've got ideas, if you've got something you believe in, you want to share with people, just find a way to do it. And if it's a $10 music video, or if it's a $20 million TV series, like whatever you can convince someone to give you to get your thing out there. Yeah. The important thing is that you just get it out. Yeah. That's always been my point of view. And it's like, I don't know how mentally you prepare yourself for that journey every time. Yeah. I think with a sense of kind of humility and surrender. Yeah. None of us control the outcomes of anything. Yes. You can try and go in with good intentions, try and conduct yourself in a certain way, put out some good energy with the people you're working with and collaborating with. But then after that, it's totally out of your hands. Yeah. And that is scary. Totally. I remember when we did Sound of Metal. Yeah. In a way, it's the ideal situation to be in. We finished the film, and I said to Darius Marder, the incredible writer-director, I said, if no one sees this film, and no offense, but I'm pretty sure no one will, it doesn't matter, because this has been a really enriching experience. We've all grown as people, as artists, as human beings, we've had to do that empathy exercise of putting ourselves in someone else's shoes, going to a world we haven't been before. If we're lucky, audiences will get to do that as well. Yeah. But even if this is as far as it goes, even if this never comes out, this has been special for me. I think that's the ideal place you want to be. Right. If you're doing something because you think, well, I hate this. I hate this process, I hate these people. But if this comes out and people see it, it could be good for me. I think that's a really unhealthy place to be. And I don't judge sometimes if people are forced to be in those positions and, you know, but I just think that given the total crapshoot, you know, the roulette wheel of seeing how things turn out, you might as well do things you enjoy doing, separate to how they turn out, you know, so. And I guess I got to say that I think that if you enjoy doing it, chances are that comes across on screen, you know, and audiences will enjoy it more.
Of all the things you're up to, you have another, maybe your most important role now, a new role as a father. How are you doing in that role?
You got to ask my wife and kid, really, you know. I'm still auditioning for the role, hopefully, get through to the last round.
Does it change you, do you think, as an artist in any way?
Yeah, I think a lot more gratitude and humility on my part. You know, at this point, anything that I do as an artist is facilitated by the support of my wife. So it's definitely kind of made me realize the extent to which the people closest to you are actually the co-authors of your work. That's something that I've always been aware of, you know, speaking about my mother. As kind of like, somehow she's controlling the joystick of every acting choice I make somewhere deep in my subconscious maybe. But now in a really kind of tangible way, seeing that like my work is only made possible by other people. You know, and in particular my wife, who's my greatest creative confidant and guide and co-author.
Having a great writer around is a great asset. I just want to ask you, you've talked about how you guys met, but because it's such a great little story, but you actually, you just bumped into each other at a cafe?
Yeah, it's complete. No one actually believes the story because it sounds so much like a rom-com or something.
It does.
But that's literally what happened. I was preparing for Sound of Metal in New York. I was in Brooklyn, in Fort Greene. I was writing a script. I was actually working on the thing that I'm editing now. She sat down opposite and she started emptying her whole bag out because she'd lost her charger. You know, I just spotted an opening. Like, can I help you? What I didn't realize is that would be a daily occurrence, her losing her charger and emptying her bag out everywhere.
Does your work inform each other's work?
For my writer's room for my TV show, I was constantly begging my wife to stop by, and she did. I was very lucky because I trust her more than anyone. I trust her story brain more than anyone's. And she brought such insight and emotion and just brilliant ideas to the table. My wife asking me to advise on her novels, maybe not as good an idea.
Has she asked you to?
Surprisingly, she has not. I'm ready. I'm here.